Good afternoon, YouTube modeling community. Just a vlog about video cameras and video storage. And also a shout out to my friends, Dr. Cranky and American Legend and Chris Chapman. And I will start out with my shout outs. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Cranky for all of his wonderful videos in support of the YouTube modeling community and his sharing with us, his thoughts and views about video cameras and taking videos, and it is helpful for a lot of people. I would like to say with that, with the model car hobby, it's always just been a hobby of building plastic models, whether cars or military things, but mostly people find their niche. Model cars, model trucks, military stuff, aviation stuff. But the biggest merger that really excites me is the hobby of videography. And we have to remember it's a hobby. And it's not like we intentionally decided, hey, I'm going to be a videographer. It just happened. I never thought that I'd be making videos about building models, but I am. And I thought I'd just push a button, talk a little bit, show my models, and that's it. But it has become, let's say, an art form where we look into what we're doing, how we're doing it, and how we are presenting what we are doing. It's not just taking pictures or whatever. We want to make the best of our videos. And you can see that with Chris Chapman. He's like the rest of us. Average guy, likes to build models, not all that, knowledgeable about videography, but is trying and wants to learn because he wants to represent his model cars, his hobby of building models, through video, which is another hobby, videography. How to bring across your thoughts and your ideas across through video to a community like YouTube. And we don't think about it, but it is a hobby that has grown from us being into our plastic models and looking for more resources. And with that, it comes a whole new learning curve. Not only are we now learning about how to build better models, or coming up with more ideas of what we can do that we never thought of, but we're also now starting to learn how and try to understand videography, how to make these wonderful videos, and what equipment to use. Now, first of all, you have to come to terms with who you are and how far you want to take videography. Do you want to be, making television shows? Do you want to be in it like some of these YouTube guys that just have billions of subscribers? Do you want to have videos that look like Dr. Cranky's videos with a lot of production stuff and everything? Or do you just want to have a chat time, a coffee time, or whatever? You need to realize and better understand yourself and how far and how in-depth you want your videos to be. Because if you're not careful, you will spend more time videoing and doing the video stuff than the actual model car building. I'm not saying how involved you should be. That is up to you. But take a good look at yourself and what you want to do and how you're going to get there. That comes into what type of camera should I buy? You can buy $4,000 or $5,000 video cameras, professional quality. Is that what you need? Is that what you want? Are you going to go outside and make movie quality videos? Or are you just going to show people what you're building? You really have to think about that. And, a lot of people are using their cell phones to make videos, and they're doing good jobs. I mean, they look good. You know, and I don't just mean the model car community. I watch other videos besides model cars, and I see and I can tell someone's walking down the street talking and their arms up like this because they got their iPhone pointed in their face. You know, and that's good for them. It gives them the effect they want. It gives that raw feeling of live and, you know, something that is not produced. And I think for the modeling community, we're not so much into produced videos. We're into the real deal. Normal, everyday guys like ourselves. We don't need a lot of production or any of that stuff. A good example is Chevy Cheeseburger. You know, he uses a Canon. You know, I can't remember what model. He uses a Canon, which is probably similar to my Nikon. Nothing very expensive. You know, nothing super professional. A very amateur camera. And he gets what he wants out of it. And he's satisfied with his videos. And so are his viewers. Sometimes we try to overdo things, thinking in order to please others, we have to do more, when actually by doing more, you can do worse. So think about your budget, what you can afford, and how in-depth you want to get into something. Because the more you get into videography, the less you'll be into models, because you're going to spend a lot more time playing with cameras. Now, another shout out I would like to do is to American Legend. And the reason for the shout out to him is my last video, I posed a question and left a bit of messed up footage on the back side of my video. The question was, does anybody have a clue as to why my camera is having these audio issues? No one answered, except for American Legend. And he gave a suggestion. And that's something too. When someone gives a suggestion or a thought, that's all it is. You know, they're not professionals. They're not being paid to solve your problems. Take it as that. And what he told me sounded very feasible, and I can understand that. He told me that the quality of my SD card may not be the right quality or high enough. And that's what's caught, because that has been a problem for him in the past in some of his video making when he videos drag races. And it made sense to me. And he explained to me the differences between, you know, the SD cards. And I'll show you what he was saying here on this same video. But me not being a dummy and not taking the time, I did not look at the card I had in my camera. I just assumed it was a low quality card because it came with the camera. So I went and bought an expensive card that had the quality that he was mentioning, and I tried it and it didn't work. I had the same issue. That's when I looked at my old card. It was of a high quality too. And I'm like, I could have saved a bunch of money, you know, if I would have looked at the card before I went and bought another one. But speaking of that, and this is good, strong advice for all of you who are just getting into making videos and you have a new camera. Go to the website of the manufacturer for whatever camera that you have, whether it be a combination video, still picture camera, or just a camcorder or whatever. Always go to the manufacturer's website and see if they have any firmware updates on your equipment. And this is good advice for a lot of different types of equipment. But my issue was resolved for free. I went to the Nikon website, punched in the search menu there, my camera, and put in firmware updates. And guess what? There was a firmware update. And the basic title of that update was audio issues. I'm like, wow, I'm suffering from audio issues. And I don't have this update on my camera. I downloaded it for free. It was easy to put into the camera. I did that. Voila. no more issues. So, whatever you buy, whatever you have, even if it's a cell phone, if you're having issues, go to the manufacturer's website. Check to see if there are any updates for that particular device. You can save a lot of time and a lot of money and heartache. I was thinking, man, I can't afford another camera, and I didn't need another one. I just needed to update what I have. So with that, I learned a lesson. And now if you give me just a second, I'm going to move the camera and show you what I'm talking about as far as the quality of SD cards. And it's not just for video cameras and cameras, but it's also for cell phones, because I realize that my wife had a cheap card in her phone. It lasted 4 months and zapped. Card's no good. It was a number 4 card. I didn't know the difference between cards. There's rated 1 through 10. And I'm going to show you here right now, so I don't have this video too long, the difference between 1 and 10, or how to tell. That is the difference between a quality SD card, a grade 10, and I've seen a grade 4, that's what I had before, but you want to look for that in your SD cards. And I learned that from American Legend, so thank you. And even though that was not my problem, it may have ended up my problem in the future, but I think it's also solved problems with other devices that I have. Now, to Chris Chapman. So, Chris, cheers, my friend. I wish I could do a coffee time, but you've already taken that title. So, and I don't know if I can get away with apple pie moonshine time, but that is an idea. Anyway, so Chris, to continue my thoughts, and with you, as I've already mentioned about understanding yourself, how far and deep you want to get into videography, how much you want to spend. You do not need an expensive camera. Dr. Cranky made a big point of that, and I thank him for that. You don't need to spend a lot of money on equipment. The camera that I'm using now, and I'll have a picture of it at the end, is a Nikon L820. It's a discontinued camera. It's been discontinued for I think a couple of years or so, but you can still find them on Amazon and popular online bidding websites. I paid I think $130 for mine, and it came with a bunch of cool stuff, and it videos up to, it has 1080 HP. It's, so it'll go high definition 1080 HP, which is awesome. It does, but it also gives you the choice of what quality you want, because sometimes, and if you notice this, most people when they watch YouTube videos don't watch them in high definition, because it takes too long for the video to load on their computer. Most videos are around 380 is what people watch. So it's not really necessary you have a 1080, but I have a 1080. I figure in the next 4 years, 1080 will be obsolete, but will still be, acceptable. So mine films in 1080, and it's, the camera part, I believe, is a 60 megapixel, with a 30 times wide optical zoom. It's a wonderful camera. Takes awesome stills and awesome video. And I wanted to have one piece of equipment. I did not want to have to take pictures with one camera and then video with the other. When I go to download this onto my computer, I have one SD card, that I use in the Nikon. It automatically has the pictures that I'll take with it, and it'll have the video that I've taken. So I'm not switching back and forth. It's all from the same device. Or if I don't want to take my card out, I just, hook my camera up to my laptop and it'll download that way. So in that I save by only having one piece of equipment instead of several pieces of equipment that I would use for one video, of course. I'm not counting the computer. So when you think about buying a camera, it doesn't have to be super expensive. You can find something for under $200 that will do more than what you need on taking videos. Now, your computer that you have, it is nice to have a quality computer that can handle the amount of information you're putting into it and the rate of information you're trying to move through it. But one thing people don't realize is when you upload something, each little bit that you upload is like a stone. And you're throwing stones in a basket, okay? And your computer is trying to move this heavy basket with all these stones. The lighter the basket, the faster it moves it. The heavier, the more stuff in the basket, the harder it is to move it. So the more you have in your videos, the longer they are. If you add music, you do all this stuff, that's just that much more. And the length of the video. That's why it is easier to make a video from just still pictures. And it'll upload quicker than if you actually shoot video. And of course, if you shoot in 1080, that's more stones in the basket than if you was to shoot at, 380. So that's something you have to think about, is the quality and how much you're trying to put through your computer. Now, to go beyond that, your computer will transfer that to YouTube through the internet. Your provider gives you the pathway, the road that takes your information to YouTube. They are the truck. You take your basket and you put it in the back of their truck and they drive it over to YouTube through the internet. Simple way to put it, but that's how it is. But the only thing is you know how many people are in your neighborhood? How many other people around you are using that same truck to throw their stuff on, that same road, that same train, or however you want to put it, to go somewhere else? It gets overloaded. Things get slow. You could have the greatest computer in the world. If your internet provider doesn't have the capabilities to handle your needs and your neighbor's needs, it's going to be slow no matter what you do. So that's something you should look into. Your internet provider, do they provide enough, a big enough truck to haul all those stones? Can they support you like you need? Storage of your videos and pictures. They're literally taking your pictures and putting them on another storage device, which is like a drawer, and they sit there until you access them. Now, that's awesome. It's good advice to sync your computer with an online storage thing, and always back up your computer's information to this online storage place, which is everything in your computer, not just your pictures and videos, so that if something tragic happens to your computer and you have to go buy another one, and you've written down your passwords and how to get to this website, you can get all your stuff back. Now, if you're like me, not everything lasts forever. Who's to say that company is going to be there 5 years from now? And if something happens to them, where does all the information go that they've been storing? How well are you guaranteed that they can maintain your information for you? And what are they doing with your information? Who has access to that? Anything that goes through your computer and anything that you send through the internet can be seen by others. You may not know how to do it, but others can see what is on your computer and what you have sent through the internet, and what has been sent through the internet to a storage site. I'm not saying that you may be taking videos you shouldn't or pictures you shouldn't, but maybe you don't want to share your other information like banking needs, and if you store stuff like that on your computer, whatever. One thing I strongly suggest, and I don't think anyone will disagree with me, is external storage devices. SD cards are wonderful. Store so much stuff on here, but only so much. And you notice they're made out of thin plastic and all this. They're very susceptible to heat. You have to take very good care of them. And they don't last forever. It's just like everything else in this world, everything has a shelf life. So, flash drives and all that, good stuff for storing things, but not for long-term storage. It's great for short-term, but not for long-term. It's kind of like when we would record our favorite songs on that cassette tape, and after a while they would kind of, the heat from sitting in the car or whatever, it would mess up. It's good advice to look for an external hard drive. A hard drive that you use to back your computer to. Now, if you don't want to back up your whole computer to this hard drive all the time, I know people that they have different hard drives for different things. They back up only certain stuff to this hard drive. Not everything, just certain things. They have their whole music library on a hard drive that's separate from their computer. And that's all that's on there. There's people who make videos, obviously. All their videos, even the stuff they don't use, their outtakes, intakes, whatever, is stored on an external hard drive by itself. Maybe, like, this is what I do. I store all my pictures and videos on a terabyte hard drive. And I'm not saying you have to buy a terabyte. They are getting cheaper as time goes on, but at least I know if no matter what happens, if the internet crashes and I can't get to the internet, if my provider who I do my online backup to goes out of business, if my computer fries, I have over here in a safe spot my terabyte hard drive, external hard drive that I can plug into any computer. I just have to be careful that as time goes on, that I will still be able to use that with more modern equipment. But you see things changing, and eventually you'll just re-download that onto a different device if it comes to the point that that particular device will no longer be compatible with the stuff in the future. But always back up your stuff. Find a safe place outside of the internet to store your videos, so you always have access to them without having to go through another website. And that's another thing. If you're having issues with speed and transferability, if you have to draw something off the internet, that slows your computer down. If it's on a hard drive, it's not working through the internet. It's quicker, it's faster, it's there. Look into that. And I'm not saying get a terabyte, but I hope this is handy. And even though I fussed about buying an extra SD card, at least now I can still video while my stuff is uploading to YouTube. So with that, everyone, I bid you a blessed good day.